Someone is about to lose everything. A marriage is crumbling. A detective is hunting the wrong suspect. And the woman hiding the deadliest secret in Weatherfield is running out of places to hide. The truth about Theo Silverton's death has finally exploded into the open. But instead of bringing justice, it has unleashed an even more dangerous chain of events. Because now the real battle isn't about discovering who killed Theo. It's about who will pay the price. For weeks, Gary Windass has carried a burden that was never truly his. Every suspicious glance, every whispered conversation, every awkward encounter with Sarah Platt has made him look more guilty. To everyone watching from the outside, the conclusion seemed obvious. Gary had somehow become involved in Theo's death. Even Maria started believing the worst. An affair. Betrayal. Another devastating secret hidden inside their marriage. But nothing could have prepared anyone for the horrifying reality that finally emerged. Everything changed with one unforgettable flashback. The terrifying events of that night finally unfolded. Sarah had rushed to what she believed was Todd's desperate call for help, never imagining she was walking straight into danger. Instead of finding Todd, she found Theo. Drunk. Furious. Completely out of control. The atmosphere turned sinister almost immediately. Theo wasn't interested in talking. He wanted to intimidate. To provoke. To hurt. Every cruel word seemed carefully chosen to reopen Sarah's deepest emotional wounds. He mocked her past. He taunted her grief. He deliberately dragged up memories she had spent years trying to bury. Then his threats became physical. Sarah backed away. Theo continued advancing. Every second increased the panic. Every escape disappeared. Until Sarah spotted the only thing within reach. A heavy metal bar. It wasn't a planned attack. It wasn't revenge. It was one desperate decision made in absolute fear. She swung. The impact stunned Theo. He staggered backwards, lost his footing, and fell from the scaffolding. In one horrifying instant, everything changed forever. Silence filled the air. Sarah stood frozen, unable to believe what had just happened. She hadn't set out to kill anyone, but she knew nobody would believe that once the police arrived. Fear overwhelmed reason. Instead of making one phone call that could have changed everything, she made another. He called Gary. That single decision trapped 2 lives instead of 1. Gary arrived expecting an emergency. What he found was unimaginable. Sarah was shaking, barely able to speak, consumed by panic. He instantly realized how devastating the consequences could become. Police investigations. Forensic evidence. Questions neither of them could answer. One wrong move could destroy every part of their lives. Gary knew helping Sarah would place his own future in jeopardy. But walking away wasn't an option either. He chose loyalty. A decision that now threatens to cost him absolutely everything. And that's only the beginning. Because while Gary and Sarah buried the truth, everyone else started inventing their own version of events. Maria watched her husband grow distant. She noticed secret conversations, hidden meetings, strange excuses, late-night disappearances. Every clue pointed toward one heartbreaking conclusion. Gary was having an affair with Sarah. The pain slowly consumed her. Every unanswered question pushed their marriage closer to collapse. Then came the disastrous dinner party. What should have been an ordinary evening exploded into one of the most uncomfortable confrontations Weatherfield has seen in years. Kit Green had his own agenda. Already suspicious after spotting Gary and Sarah together, the detective deliberately invited Gary and Maria to dinner alongside Sarah. He wanted answers. They said. He created chaos. Maria could no longer stay silent. Her frustration finally erupted. She accused Gary and Sarah of betraying everyone sitting around that table. The room fell silent. Faces filled with shock. Neither Gary nor Sarah could defend themselves. Not because the accusation was true, but because the real truth was even worse. How could they explain that the secret connecting them wasn't an affair? It was a death? Every denial only made them appear more suspicious. Every awkward silence strengthened Maria's fears. And every passing day tightened the noose around Gary's neck. Meanwhile, Kit became more determined than ever. In his mind, Gary wasn't simply behaving suspiciously. He was behaving like a killer. The detective refused to back down. He confronted Gary publicly, pushing him, provoking him, trying to force one careless mistake. Gary held his nerve. But then he made one cryptic comment. He warned Kit that the truth was much closer than he realized. At first, nobody understood what he meant. Except one person. Todd Grimshaw. Something about Gary's words refused to leave his mind. For weeks Todd had struggled to make sense of everything surrounding Theo's death. Nothing quite fitted together. Too many people were acting strangely. Too many stories contained uncomfortable gaps. Gary's comment became the missing piece. A terrifying possibility suddenly formed. What if Gary wasn't protecting himself? What if he was protecting someone else? Todd went straight to Sarah. She tried denying everything. She begged him to stop playing detective. She insisted everyone had become obsessed with blaming innocent people. But Todd refused to leave. The pressure became unbearable. Eventually, Sarah broke. She confessed everything. Every terrifying moment. Every desperate decision. Every lie that followed. Todd stood in stunned silence. He had expected answers. He never expected this. His heart broke in two different ways. He finally understood why Theo died. But he also realized how many innocent people had suffered because the truth remained hidden. Summer had already endured unimaginable consequences. Gary was preparing to sacrifice his entire future. Maria's marriage was collapsing. And Kit was hunting the wrong suspect. One confession had shattered countless lives. Todd faced an impossible decision. Report Sarah. Or protect someone he cared about. Neither choice felt right. Sarah begged him to understand. She admitted she had crossed a line the moment she helped cover everything up. If she had called the police immediately, perhaps people would have believed she acted in self-defense. He said, every lie made the truth look more sinister. Todd walked away carrying a burden he never wanted. The secret now belonged to him too. But Sarah's nightmare was far from over. Unable to cope with crushing guilt, she found herself drinking heavily in the Rovers. Her brothers could see she was falling apart. Even strangers noticed something wasn't right. She joked about enjoying her freedom while she still could. Nobody laughed. Because deep down, she genuinely believed prison might be waiting. Meanwhile, Gary continued making sacrifices Sarah never asked him to make. He wanted to tell Maria everything. Again and again he tried. But every opportunity slipped away. How could he reveal the truth without destroying Sarah? How could he stay silent without destroying his own marriage? Every option ended in heartbreak. And while viewers finally discovered Sarah's role in Theo's death, the cast themselves admitted they were stunned by the reveal. Even those involved in filming confessed they were still processing just how shocking the twist had become once everything was edited together. Perhaps that's because almost nobody expected Sarah to be the one standing at the center of the mystery. But if fans believe the biggest surprise has already happened, they may want to think again. Because more twists are already beginning to surface. Kit still believes Gary is guilty. Maria still believes Gary has betrayed her. Todd now carries a secret capable of destroying multiple families. And Sarah's guilt is becoming impossible to hide. One emotional mistake, one overheard conversation, one unexpected witness, could bring everything crashing down. But perhaps the biggest mystery isn't who killed Theo anymore. It's who will be destroyed trying to protect the truth. Because if one thing is becoming painfully clear, Theo's death wasn't the end of this story. It was only the beginning. And when the next devastating secret finally comes to light, Weatherfield may never recover.